Hi guys, it's Becky, and today I am going to make a necklace with the Halloween Hustle kit um, from Softflex Design Kit. Halloween is just around the corner, so I'm going to make a few more things with this kit. And the thing that I want to make today is I would like to make an over-the-head necklace with this design kit. And for the back of the necklace, I wanted to use some of the baker's twine that these Softflex kits usually get wrapped in. I keep it, and sometimes I'll use it for something like a tassel or something else like that. But this is a way that I have done in the past to just add this as a design element in the in my design work, and also by using something other than a chain or other than, some sort of metal, you can make this accessible for someone who may have like a metal allergy or something like that. It's also, if it's an over the head necklace, something that might be easier to put on for someone who doesn't have the mobility to be able to hold their hands behind their head to attach a clasp. So it's a good way to make an accessible necklace. Because I'm using the twine too, it's going to make it a lighter necklace, so it's not going to, dig into the neck very much. And by making it long, it can be layered with some other things that you've got. So I was just pulling this out, looking around and coming up with an idea for it. And I've done this before. You can do it with fairy silk. You can do it with ribbon. I've done it with ribbon before. It makes it just kind of a little bit nicer and a little bit different from other types of designs that you have. So I'm just going to use this baker's twine. It's black and white, and it was wrapped around, I forget which one this black and white was wrapped around. For the Halloween Hustle kit, it was black with like a silver tinsel, but the silver tinsel wasn't, what's the word? It wasn't plied as nicely as these two strands of cotton are plied. So it's not going to be as great for behind the neck. So for this, I am going to be using, for stringing my beads on, I am going to be using some medium Softflex wire. I'm using the black onyx that came with this kit. I'm going to use the 2x2 crimp tubes. We've got these that also came with the kit. I'm going to use a magical crimper. When I crimp my things, that's what we're going to be using for stringing. As far as for attaching this, I have these hammer tone rings, and any closed rings will work great for that. If you've got some closed jump rings, or anything that you can have the cord or ribbon or fairy silk attached to. Another thing that I always will use when I do this is I'm going to use some of these larger whole beads, because when I tie the knot onto here, the bead will sit on top of that. And I'm going to be using some glue both to secure the knot and also to secure this bead onto where that's attached. So it makes it a little bit easier to do this sort of design when you have some of these larger whole beads for this. So let's get these affixed, and then I can start stringing. And I'll pull out the beads from this kit for the stringing part. I just want to give my glue a little bit of chance to cure and to get on there before I start attaching other things to it. So going to start with one end over here, and what I want is kind of a lark's head knot, and that's where you put the loop through the thing that you're attaching it to, and then you can draw the rest of your thread through that loop. And I don't want it to be too close to the end of this twine. I'd like to have a little bit more wiggle room for tying the additional knot that I'm going to be using for securing this. So now I've got my lark's head knot like that. And I'm just going to do another knot just on top of it by making kind of a 4 or a 9 or crossing that over here, and then pulling this knot through, or this end through that hole. I just want an additional knot on top of that lark's head for it to be secure. All right. Now, before I tie the other end on, I want to get both of these onto this thread. Just kind of smoothing that down with a little bit of spit. If you think that's gross, that's fine. You can use just some water just to keep those on there. So I have these on here already, so I don't have to worry about stringing them on later, because we're gonna get some glue on here and move it down, but I want to get my other knot tied over here. All right, so for this I can either put my little loop through, and then actually let's go ahead and do that. We're just going to have a much bigger loop for this so that we can have the entire thing go through. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Instead of deconstructing what that knot is going to look like. There we go. All right. Oh, well, that was fun. I put it through the wrong way. I'm sure there's another way of doing this, but I don't want to mess with that right now because I've got another knot. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, make a little 4 or a 9 or whatever. Just cross it over, bring the loop through, and pull it tight. All right. So now I have my lark's head with an additional knot securing on that end. So everything that I do on this end, I'm also going to do on this end. But first, I'm going to move this guy a little bit closer, and I'm going to pull the end of that up there. I'm not going to put this tight yet, because what I want to do is get out my glue. Now this does not have a precision applicator, so I'm going to be using just a little piece of scrap wire to help me apply the glue around this knot, and then I'm going to push this bead down on top of that. I'm also going to move this off of my bead mat. And put this plastic under it, because glue. All right, so let's get just skimming off the top of that, just to get some of this glue out of the way. I want some fresher glue. I'm just going to grab myself a glob there. I am going to apply it generously around this knot, all the way around it, all the way here where this is coming out, and up along the top. And while this glue is still wet and it's gloopy, I'm gonna get this bead pushed in place. There's some excess glue. I'm going to grab that piece of scrap wire that I had. I'm just going to kind of scrape away that excess glue if I can, just so it's not so messy. Yeah, you can use your finger if you need to. now I'm going to cut off this excess right here. Now that I've got my knot secured. That's going to hold that on right there. So let me do this again on the other side. Where that knot is. I'm gonna grab some of this glue. Just a big globule of it. Just gonna go all the way around. This glue is a little on the gloopy side. That's fine. Don't sit in that glue. Now I'm gonna get this bead pressed down on there. I've got some extra glue that I can just wipe away. All right. So I'm going to want to let this sit and let this cure. And in the meantime, I can start planning and stringing my necklace. Let me get my glue put away. Screw it tight, but not too tight because you want to be able to unscrew it later. Move that gluey gloop out of the way. Get my scissors put away. And I can move this back. See how that's attached there? All right, so I will end up attaching my beading wire to each end of these when I'm ready to start attaching those. So let me get some beads out and maybe a bead stopper. Where are my bead stoppers? There we go. So let's get one of these out. Oh, I already have one out. That's fine. That is just fine. And get the beading wire, but first let's plan out our little necklace. Let's pull some of these out. I think I want one of these skull guys right in the middle. And like, a lot of folks have been doing this really cool thing where they have the wire go like through this bone, and maybe, you know, maybe that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, maybe we'll do the skull and the bone. Maybe this will be part of it right here with these guys. I want some of these like iridescent rainbowy beads because our large hole beads have so many of these colors. So I'm going to be grabbing colors from this to go with these guys here. So I think maybe this might work. Colors. Let's grab a couple of these orange beads right there on either side. No, you know what? I think I want these orange beads for something else. Let's pull out these guys. These are going to be our spacers. They're these hex beads. I'm going to have these in here too. I'm going to save these for some earrings. Probably these guys, or maybe these guys. Maybe. I know. I want to use these charms as earrings because, you know, they're matched. You've got your little ghosties and you've got your little skeletons, spoopy guys. So I've got the skull and I've got that and I've got these. Let's see how that does. Do I want these bright ones? No, I want these green guys and these purple ones. Yeah, and I thought about this, so I went and got, this was one of the past curated bead boxes, and they had these really great, like, marbly kind of green beads that go really well with these. And this is what I mean when I say the curated bead box is a really great stash builder, because then you can have some beads just sitting out in your stash that you can pull in to another design somehow or some way if you want to, because you usually get a lot of different colors and finishes in that box when you do that. All right, so I've got purple, I've got green, I've got these, and I think this is gonna be how we do. Maybe. We're definitely gonna have these guys as spacers. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. Definitely gonna work. All right. So we're gonna start here in the middle with this guy. I'm gonna pull off some beading wire. I think that's probably gonna be about enough. I mean, it's not gonna be like a huge amount of beads, because most of the length for our necklace is gonna be here with this twine. But at least this way I can get started going up there. So let me go drop my skull down to the middle, and I'm going to put one of each of these hex beads on either end, on either side of my skull. I'm hoping these are wide enough that they don't get swallowed up by that hole, and they don't. He looks like he's wearing headphones. All right, and then each of these on these ends. And now I'm going to go through the bone bead, going in opposite directions. Like that. All right, now I can start stringing the rest of these beads. I have glue on my fingernails. It's fine though. So yeah, I have started putting together my Halloween costume. We usually have a dress-up day at my axe throwing league. And so I will usually wear a costume for that. Our theme is monsters though. So I have got myself a little outfit so I can dress up like Sully from Monsters Inc. I'm not doing like a onesie because those are really hot and it's still Texas, even though it's October. And I need to be able to throw an axe in whatever I'm wearing. So I've got some fuzzy pajama bottoms basically that are the blue with the purple dots on it. And I got a wig that it's blue with purple. I know I could just dye my hair, but I went to so much trouble of getting it like this rose gold and purple and pink ends that I don't want to mess around with other colors. So I'm going to wear a wig, and then I've got some silvery glittery horns to wear on top. And that's going to be my little Sully outfit. It's going to be really cool. And I got a little stuffed Mike Wazowski to take with me. I really like this. I think that looks fantastic, and it's gonna look great attached to that. All right, so if you celebrate Halloween, what are you guys going as? I would love to hear about your costume ideas and what you're gonna be doing. I think it's next week. No, not next week. It's the 31st. It's like a Tuesday or something that we're gonna have with that. But I really enjoy dressing up in costumes, so I like the fact that I don't just dress up for Halloween. I also can put costumes together for other occasions, and that's one of the reasons I like Dress Up Day for my Axe League. And not everybody does it, and I just don't understand why people don't want to dress up because it's so much fun. It's so much fun. I don't know. Dressing up is fun. Last year for Halloween, I dressed as Moira Rose's character in The Crows Have Eyes 2 from Schitt's Creek. It was a lot of fun. So I dressed up for I wore it while I was handing out candy to our trick-or-treaters that come by our neighborhood. That's one thing about living in a house. When I lived in apartments, we didn't get very many trick-or-treaters, and so it was kind of sad. But once we bought a house and we like live in a neighborhood where there are kids, and it's great because, you know, we get people knocking on our doors to sell us Girl Scout cookies, and we get trick-or-treaters who all come by. And you know Ellen, my whiny girl, she loves Halloween because she loves kids. And so she has all these kids showing up at her house, and she gets to wag her tail at them, and some of them will pet her. And then they go away, and she loves it. She camps out in front of the front door all night, waiting for the the next group of trick-or-treaters to come. And it's so cute. And she will wear a costume. Her favorite thing to wear is her hot dog costume. She will literally sit there whining until I put her hot dog costume on her. Probably because it's nice and soft and quilted, and it's like wearing a blanket. So she doesn't care that it's a hot dog. She doesn't understand that. It doesn't smell like hot dogs. So like, but she loves wearing it, and it's her favorite thing. And so she'll probably be wearing that because she just wears it all the time. She'll probably be wearing that for Halloween when it is time for us to do that. All right. So now I've got my necklacey part. Let me count and make sure that I'm actually like symmetrical on this, because I didn't count before. I wasn't paying too much attention to that. And I really, really love this. That was such a great idea. All right, let me move that out of the way. And the glue isn't completely dry on this, so I'm going to be very careful with it when I am attaching my, you know what, actually, maybe we can just come back to this after the glue is dried. I don't know why. No, you know what? We'll do it now. We will just go through and get that done. And because I mean it's just crimping, and I'm not gonna wear it. I'm not gonna put a lot of stress on that until after the glue is dried, but I can at least show you the finished object between then and now. And we'll need to spend some time doing some earrings before actual Halloween, because I do have plans for earrings with these and the rest of this. I still have so much Halloween Hustle kit left, even after doing all of those other things. And like, I know I have a lot of other Halloween beads too, so I have not been able to do as many things as I had planned or had wanted to do yet, but I am working on getting there. What is that? Why is that? All right. So I'm going to just slide that. You can't really see the crimp as easily against the black wire because it's a black crimp bead or gunmetal color. I'm just going to slide the wire here back through that and a couple of other beads. You know what I forgot to do? And it's a good thing I didn't crimp yet. I forgot to attach it to my ring. Don't worry, I heard you shouting, guys. I heard you shouting. Becky, you forgot your thing. Because Becky forgets things. That's the subheading of this channel. Counting with Becky. Becky forgets things. All right. And I don't want it too tight. But I also don't want it too loose. Okay. All right, that's gonna be close enough. And you want to make sure, let's scooch in a little bit. You want to make sure that there's some room between your crimp and your bead on the next go around, so you don't crush your bead, and so that there's some movement within the necklace so it's not super tight, because that will break a crimp. All right, magical crimper. I'm making a ravioli by squishing down with the crimp in this concavity, and then you just rotate it so that as you press down and rotate, the corners become less square and more rounded. This is not rotating the way I wanted it to, so I'm going to hold this and rotate it, because the beads we're not rotating my crimp bead by rotating the beads, but by rotating my ring, I am. And it makes a nice round crimp bead, which is perfect. There we go. For that. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. think it's pretty. I think it's pretty. You got some greens and purples and sparkles and little skull beads for Halloween. All right, so I've got my crimp on, and now I'm going to just slide my wire through this loop. We're going to do the same thing on this side. You know what? Aha! I did forget something. Look at that. There's a spacer missing there. I knew I was forgetting something. Spacer, purple bead, spacer. It's so nice when you can notice the things that you've forgotten before you crimp instead of after, which, you know, happens to me a lot too. There we go. That's gonna work so much better for me. All right. So go back through the crimp bead, and I just like to run my, if it'll fit through the beads, I just like to run my my wire through some extra beads. All right. There we go. That's about right. You want to make sure that you've got a little bit of space. And get your crimp bead. You can't really see it that well. Get your crimp bead right there in that concavity. Squish it. That makes the ravioli. Then rotate it. And press it as you rotate it. And that'll squish down all of those harsh corners. So you don't even need a crimp cover. Because I don't know about you guys, but like, I always, other crimp beads, when you crimp them like the regular way, I can't wear something with that kind of crimp unless there's a crimp cover, because they will scrape against me and be really annoying, and I hate that. It's so much easier with this. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my little demonstration of how to use, like, I just used the baker's twine that came with the kit. Well, not this kit, a different kit on this, but you can use the cotton twine, you can use ribbon, you can use fairy silk, but you can just tie it onto a ring, glue one of these wide hole beads on top of your knot, and you've got yourself a nice long over the head necklace that is lighter than it looks, because you've got that there. And this is what I made with my Halloween Hustle kit. Hope you guys are having a great time. Bye!